Good morning, everybody. I'm Akhila Murthy, faculty of Suryadatta Institute of Fashion Technology. Uh, First of all, thank you for being a part of this session. I'm here today to present embroidery on upcycled garments. It's going to be a workshop plus a little bit of awareness kind of a program. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So give me a minute. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. The main objective of this session today, it's going to be a pathway to sustainable fashion. So through my small little contribution of this PowerPoint presentation, I have taken a small step to spread awareness on upcycling and the concept of recycling. Though many of you are aware on this concept, but how much in reality are we implementing it in our life? That is very important over here. And impart knowledge on hand embroideries. Many of you have seen craft videos. You're coming across videos every day in and out on various kinds of embroideries, though it may be a hand embroidery or a machine embroidery. But hand embroidery has its own essence and elegance that never fades away. Here is it. Starting with what is an upcycle clothing? What is the concept all about? So upcycling is mainly a method. It is adopted to convert old garments into useful products. It can be either for functional or it can be either for decorative purpose. So creativity and innovation plays a very major role over here. So before I proceed, understanding what creativity and innovation is, understanding this is very important. So creativity is something, ability to bring into new product, ability to bring a new product into existence, whereas innovation is transforming an ideas, modifying or improvising it into an effective application. So you must be familiar with the terms like doing things differently and doing things very differently. That's something which makes a lot of difference over here. And like I said, upcycling is a method where you can convert all these worn out and the used garments which either do not fit you properly or either they have got due to excessive wear and tear, part or a portion of it has got affected and it's of no more in use. And but you can recycle them, you can implement some new innovative concepts in it, modify the styles, the silhouettes, or just a part of it and add an additional accessory to it and make it again useful. It is also known as repurposed clothing, reused clothing, or recycled garments. I will just take you through some upcycled denim products, which are very much in trend. So you can see a mobile charger and a hanger. Then you can see some very cool ID cards, which students can really sport. You can keep your library cards into it if you can carry your access cards in it. And here are some home decorative products like making a Christmas tree out of denims. All the denim seams are being used and bound over on a wooden stick. And then you can see branding plus a flag vase, which is being which can be used as a home decorative product, and you have some beautiful planters completely made out of denims. Coming to culinaries and somebody from the hotel management department can really make use of these ideas for presentation, because all that matters is presentation. So how beautiful it is to use a denim you know table liners apart from your regular posters and your fabric photo printed fabrics that we're using. So the denim pockets can be used in very innovative style to hang in the napkins, spoons. So, and if you're traveling daily, so if you're having a lunchbox, so you can make a small pouch out of it and keep your spoon and fork in it. You can carry it every day. Then this is just another presentation of how well you can use the pockets from your ribbed denims, which are of no use. So, what's the secret behind the rise of these upcycled products? This is something which is very important over here. I'm sure you all might be aware that hashtag upcycle, hashtag this has been in trend for a very long time. So the conversations about how climatic change is affecting us and how bringing sustainability into fashion field also into daily living has become very important. We are seeing a steady growth among these mainstream brands. But when it comes to upcycling, these new emerging labels, amateur designers, they have understood, they have realized the importance of recycling or upcycling process in very new ways. And they have sparked this trend, which is gaining a lot of serious momentum, I can say. So the first point over here, like I mentioned, is serious impacts on environment. What we have seen has been one major reason why upcycled garments should be encouraged. And a need for sustainability is something which is very important. And a fashion trend that, creative fashions which are made in limited numbers, where consumers are very specific that they would not like to repeat the garments, or they are very conscious that they do not get copied or something. For them, yes, recycled and using these products are a big yes. And utilized as an innovative art piece, yes, this is something I can say we can start on a very ground level. So the discarded clothes that we keep aside over a few months, can't we use them and start converting it into beautiful art pieces, just like I showed them from what all you can do from denims. The similar way you can convert them into wall decors, into table liners, into home linens, and many more options. So here's a fun fact for you all. Female is a brand which is started by two founders, that is Camilla and Janelle Abbott. They live in two different cities, and they have inculcated the concept of upcycling. They have considered their brand as an reactive collaboration. They have termed it as a reactive collaboration only because they considered upcycling as a very important artistic tool, and they have very carefully blended the essence of a fashion design and a textile art. So if you can see, if you can, go out, and if you're curious enough, so you can please go see the collections. You can see how beautifully they are working on it. And the most interesting part over here is both the designers do not uh, work together in one particular city. They live across two different cities. One of the founders are working on recycled garments, So only she collects all the garments and everything, she upcycles them, and then she forwards to the next unit. So that is to the next founder, and there the design team everything plans, and they take over all the modifications and the improvisations, or probably the ornamentation that needs to be taken care of. So this is a very inspiring concept, I can say. And not just a female. Apart from this, there's also a Los Angeles-based creative designer. She's called as Annabelle Plee. She runs across all the local stores so that she can collect all the used T-shirts or the ones which are donated. She paints them with dyes. She experiments them with various color combinations and grid-like patterns, and with this, she's also taking commissions, creating some custom designs on a client's pair of old plans or jacket. Completely customer based, consumer based choice products is what she believes in developing. So, how do we produce an upcycled garment? So, here I can say the concept of design process plays a very major role over here. We all think, yes, we should start adopting recycling, or probably if I'm an amateur designer today, in the coming few years, I should start my upcycle unit or an upcycle store. How would I do it? And the first most concept is understanding the purpose and the requirement over here is very, very essential. So, what you wish to develop, or if you're doing a customer based project, you have to understand what are all the requirements and what are his or her needs, style conscious, how conscious is she, what are her specifications, how well she is comfortable carrying uh, you know uh, clothing which can be of her taste. And then once you have understood all the requirements, you head to the brainstorm phase, where you sit, you start processing all the ideas that has been gained from your customer or your consumer. You start sketching, you start penning down the ideas. If in case you face some critical issues which is quite not possible, then you find a solution for it. And then after passing through this phase, you go to a prototype phase, where you actually make a sample out of what your final product is going to be over here. All the specifications, all the details, all the ornamentations that you're planning to use, everything is included in this particular phase. Once the prototype is done, you present your sample to your customer, or you probably, if you have done it for yourself, you would choose like a, you can do a questionnaire also. Also, you can do a feedback session, or by taking a sample of 20 people, presenting them your product, taking in what they like, what they disliked, what improvisations they are looking for. So something very important over here. After this, once you have understood all the pros, cons, the improvisations, you head to your final product stage. So this stage is very, very essential. So here is one of a very small project that I worked on. I had a kurti which I fit into a couple of years ago, but I do not fit into it anymore. But I was not ready to give up this kurti, so I transformed it into two different patterns over here. Like you can see, I split it in the between, and I attached a lace in the midpoint, so that I can use it as an overcoat or as a jacket. If not, I can wear it as an angrakha pattern also. So here's the second thing, second product. A beautiful white denim got stained. So now how do I rectify it? The detergents didn't help me much, trust me. So I became a little creative. Did a patchwork on all the stained areas. I did a Japanese letter painting. Each Japanese letter has a simple message behind them. And then on the patchwork, I have done a little bit of embellishment using embroidery on the edges, like you can see in the third picture. And here's the third garment, a beautiful sari, but got faded away. And I wanted to convert it into a new style, so I have worn it more than twice. So now I wish to uh, present it in a much more better way. So I converted it into a gown, and I added an embroidered waist belt to it. So here's another fun fact for all of you. What happens to all the clothes, shoes, or the linens that you discard or throw away when you don't need them anymore? So the first thing what happens is 45% of it is reused as a second-hand clothing, and 30% of it is recycled and converted into items like commercial wrapping rags and everything, like a rucksack or something. Then 20% of it is reprocessed into fibers, which are used in new products like carpets making and for insulation, for the conveyor belts. You need a lot of blended materials. So that's where it is being used. And 5% of it is totally unusable. So it just goes directly into the filth, into the dumping yard, just like that. So if 5% of it, if what we can take an initiative, convert these products, use them in a very thoughtful manner, I'm sure the percentages over here will start changing. So upcycling is just not important. So after you have upcycled a product, it needs additional ornamentation, or it needs certain more creativity, or something appealing and attractive. So why not add a embroidery to it? So here's a little information about embroidery. I'm sure most of you who are attending today are very well aware what an embroidery is. So, value added decorative purpose is where I would like to take. When it comes to upcycle, if you just upcycle the garments, the product will speak for itself. But when you have to carefully do the pricing and put it into a market for the customer to use it and buy it, he always looks for one attractive element in any garment. So I can say adding an embroidery will do justice to it. So it is, what is an embroidery basically? So it is an art form. It can be expressed using a needle and a thread. It is being done from ancient ages, and it is an embellishment technique, we can say. So you can also create 3D embroidery designs as well in the present generation. If we have to step into the classifications, it is vast. We have hand embroideries, we have machine embroideries. Again, machine embroideries are further divided into various types. Like in hand embroidery, we have just straight stitches, loop stitches, knotted stitches. So the list goes on, I can say. And today I will be giving you a demonstration of couple of embroideries over here. So while you are doing an embroidery, it is very important that you carefully choose the kind of motif you want to do. So in the first image on the right in the middle, I can see she has used a very uh, artistic motif that has come across her mind, and she has developed an embroidery on it. Whereas on the third, I can see that is completely an concept of upcycled embroidery. On a tennis bat, she has used woolens and she has used laces and created this particular art which she can use as a wall decor. And in the third, you have a simple corset. So a simple corset can be embroidered and used in a very innovative way. The black image on the left hand side is what I was talking about. And selection of motive is very important, like I said. So you can go for floral motifs, you can go for mythological motifs, you can use Om, Shri, you can even use a part of Ganesha's face and then cover it up carefully with any choice of embroidery, which I will be demonstrating in a couple of minutes. And then you can go for animals, birds, which we commonly see and they are adopted. These kind of embroideries are very suitable for daily wear clothing. And apart from this, we also have festive wear and occasional wears where we see heavy embroideries being adorned, like Zardossi, then you have your Ari works, and the list goes on. So, give me a moment. I would like to share my screen and present a couple of videos. Um, is the screen visible? Are the videos visible?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Okay, give me a minute. Okay, I think it should be visible now. Give me a minute. I think it is just taking a minute. So meanwhile, this gets sorted. I would like to know if anybody has taken up or heard of the concept of recycling or upcycling and taken up a small initiative and done a project. Anybody from the audience, please feel free to unmute yourself and speak to me.
I created a jacket out of old denim.
That's interesting. Could you please introduce yourself?
I'm Guru Shakti, first year of Suryadatta Institute of Fashion Design.
Yeah. Nice, Guru Shakti. That's very interesting to know. So, how many days did you take to finish the entire project?
Ma'am, I took 1 week. Like for designing, it took 2 days.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, did you get a chance to, share it across with your friends or family members, take feedbacks, and understand how more on what more you could improve on?
No, ma'am, I didn't do
Okay.
that.
No problem. So, please do share it. We'll be more than happy to know. Is there anybody from the audience who would like to share their experiences?
Hello, ma'am. I have created one piece from my mom's old sari.
Oh, that is interesting. Wow. So, how many days did you take to finish the entire project?
Couple of hours, around 6 to 7 hours.
Oh, nice. Anybody else?
Hello, ma'am. Samiksha
Hi.
here.
Yes.
I created off-shoulder top from my father's shirt.
Wow, that's interesting. So, how worried was your parents? How worried were your parents that how many garments are they going to lose?
No, ma'am. It's not like that. Actually, it was toned at the shoulders. That's why I used that.
Oh, great, very nice. Good. So, do we have any more audience who would like to share more experiences? Okay, I think our audiences are now eagerly waiting. I will show you my demonstration of embroideries. Give me a minute. I have my setup ready. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Very clear. So here's my setup, which is all set. But I would just like to run through the materials that I'm using even before I start my demonstration. So most basic tip is, we find these anchor threads across market, but very rarely, I have seen students or probably, embroidery artists using it in a very right way. So we tend to use this edge and start pulling it. The best way to retain your cotton threads is bring these two together. Okay. Okay. And then start pulling it. Great. So this will not allow your anchor threads to get knotted, and you can preserve them very neatly. And then you can cut and use how much ever you want. The anchor threads usually are in 6 layer strands. So depending on the thickness or the embossed bulkiness you want the embroidery to be, you can choose the strands you want. So ideally, I make use of 3 strands today. I'm using 3 strands today. Or ideally, if you're using for hemming or anything, you can go ahead with 2 strands. Now that I've shown you the basics, I would like to take you through a small video where all the materials that I've used for the setup. If you can notice in my video, I would be having 2 pairs of scissors. One is going to be my fabric scissors. The other is going to be my paper cutting scissor, which I'll be using to you know rip the threads or trim the threads. Never use the fabric cutting scissor on papers, and vice versa. Do not use the paper cutting scissors on fabric because the sharpness tends to reduce over the life. You're spoiling the life. So we have an embroidery hoop over here. I think my video has already started. Embroidery hoops, cotton threads, needles. Needles are in specific sizes, so depending on the number of strands that you're using, you'll have to carefully choose the size of the needle as well. Okay. I think you can pin to the live demonstration now. I'm using a 2-strand embroidery thread over here. So here's my fabric. I have just made some ground lines and kept it ready. Here's the most basic and simple embroidery. It's called as chain stitch. I start from point A. I have got my thread out. I'm just going to form a loose loop over here, like you can see. Insert my needle again at point A.
and lift it off from point B. Make sure the loop is below the thread and the loop forms below the needle. So here's your first chain stitch that has been formed. I'll be forming another one. So there you go. Here's your other second chain stitch that has been formed. So I will be showing you how you can use tubes additionally and make use of interesting beads. So over here I have a beautiful floral kundan. Is it visible? Okay. So what I'm going to do is form my chain stitch. So this I will be inserting, putting it over here, and locking it. And then I'll be continuing with next set of embroideries. So in a very contrasting way, you can make use of interesting beads. There are sugar beads which are available in the market. There are tubes which are available in the market. So over here, I am be using a couple of tubular beads over here. Is this visible? These tiny beads. And again, I'll be locking it with the same length of the tube that I've used. Okay. So locking the stitches are very important over here. So always make sure that you end an embroidery at the same point, you lock it and then move to the next line. So it's very simple. Lift it off from here, make a knot and just pull it. So here's your chain stitch. And now I'll be showing how to do a running stitch. It is the most simplest and the easiest of all the stitches. Starting from point A, inserting it into point B. Now, between A and B, the distance, the same thing will be repeated over here. So C and D is skipped, and I'll be lifting it off from D and inserting it into E. The consistency which is maintained in running stitch is what makes it beautiful. Uh, uh, have you come across Katha embroidery? It is famous in from Kolkata. Yeah. So I'm going to lock my stitch over here again. So these were some basic straight line stitches that I showed you a live demonstration of. Apart from this, there is back stitch, there are stem stitch.
Ma'am, sorry for interrupting. Only a hand is being seen. The ring is not being seen.
Okay. Okay. Guru Shakti, if you can just click on my screen and then say pin it. If you're using a laptop, kindly go to the fit to screen option. I fit to frame.
Okay,
And if
ma'am.
all the participants can please make. So next I will be showing you how to do a buttonhole stitch or a blanket stitch that we call. So I will be lifting it off from here. 7. So keep it straight and then make it perpendicular at the same distance. Insert, and before you lift the needle, make sure the thread parallel to the line is below the needle, and then you can lift it off. So here's your blanket stitch. So when you form the 7 shaped stitches in a straight line, it is called as blanket stitch. But at the same time, when you use it in a floral motif, it is called as a buttonhole stitch. If you wish to lock this after forming a 7, pull it down and insert it and lock them. So next is herringbone stitch. For herringbone stitch, you would need 2 parallel lines over here. The first line is over here and the second line is over here. I lift it from point A, go diagonally this way, reverse it, and then pull it across. So now I'm just going to extend it and exactly lift it below this point. So your first stitch will appear like a cross stitch, and the next will make sure you insert the needle in the same line. Now that I've come closer to the end, I'm just going to form another cross stitch and insert it over here and lock. So this is how your herringbone appears. So it is an embossed stitch. So you can very easily pass a needle, and there's a lot of space which is formed between the base of the fabric and your embroidery. Can you see how easily my needle passes through? This beautiful embroidery is also used on many of chiffon saris or fabrics, and a shadow work is created. So I'm sure most of you will be familiar with the word Lucknowi saris, Lucknowi chicken curry. Yes, herringbone is the most common stitch which is used in that particular embroidery. So now I have some couple of sequins with me over here. I will be making use of a silk thread. So I have used 4 strands over here. All I'm going to do is form a French knot and work it with a sequence. So lift it from this point. Okay, hold the thread. So depending on the number of strands, you will have to carefully choose how many rotations you would require. If your strands are too many, like 6, I think more than 2 knots would be sufficient. Since my silk strands are 4, I'm just making 3 knots over here. I will be inserting the sequence after doing the rotation. And then I'm going to insert it back to that place over here. Hold the thread very tight, not too tight, but forms a consistency, and slowly start pulling it.
Ma'am, I am not able to see.
Ma'am, you are not visible.
Oh, okay. 1 second. Let me check. Yeah, actually, my. Okay. I think yes. The video has gone off. Give me a minute. I'll just check. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah. See how beautifully it is formed. There is a very small French knot and a sequence at the base. I'll show it once more. Oh, sorry. Give me a minute. I think it's not visible now. 1 second. I'm just forming the French knot. Yeah. See now? I hope it is visible. Yeah. So now here I'll be showing you cross stitches. So a cross stitch is very similar to the starting of your herringbone. I'm going to pick it up from point A, make 2 lines, form a diagonal line, and then repeat it on the same line again in the opposite diagonal direction. So this forms your cross stitch. Okay. I have shown it in this big size, but usually a cross stitch is beautiful when it is worked on a matte fabric. So tinier the stitches, the embossed look will give a very nice appearance. And there's a concept of double cross stitch. So in case of double cross stitch, over this, I'm going to work again. I have formed a cross mark. Now I'm going to form a plus mark over here. See? So beautiful. You happen to see the waist belt on the second garment from the sari. I converted it into a gown. I had made use of this particular stitch. So since the sari was blue, I chose a combination of orange and another navy blue thread, cotton thread, on a matte fabric. I have converted the waist belt by doing equidistant double cross stitches. Alright. So now I'll be showing you how to do a satin stitch. So for a satin stitch, I will lift it off from here. Insert it at this point. Again, lift it very close at this stage. And then I'm going to rework. So this satin stitch is very helpful when you want to cover up a large surface of embroidery or a motif. If you've used a floral motifs which you want to cover up on a very large area, satin stitch is the most recommendable. It kind of gives a embossed appearance. Yeah. So there you go. You can just lock it down. Okay. There are some couple of videos that I had already made. I will be sharing it to you in a moment. I will be presenting my screen and I'll show it to you. Is my screen visible? The other screen? You can unpin me currently. You can unpin me right now. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So I showed you the upcycled kurti, right? I have made a very small embroidery on the back side of the kurti. So here's how you fix the embroidery hoop, and you can tighten it on top with the screw. It's adjustable. Here I have used an 8-inch embroidery hoop. You can also call it as embroidery ring. So in the first set, I will be showing you how to work with the silk thread. I've used orange and white multicolored thread. You might be finding it very familiar to a chain stitch, but this stitch is called as lacy daisy. I am forming a loop on top of the chain which has been formed. So let me show you here again. So very similar to chain stitch, I have formed a loop, lifting it off and forming another loop on top of the head. So this is how your lazy daisy stitch appears. This I've worked with 4 strands of silk threads. I have given a very neat finish at the behind. Once when you complete one particular motif and you have started working on the second motif, here's a small tip. Never use the continuation of the same thread. Always end it there, make a clean knot, and then move ahead with the next motif. So just to add more, you know, appearance to it, I've used a sequence, and again I've formed a French knot on top of it. So in this next set, I'll be working with lazy daisy stitches using a cotton thread. This cotton thread is of 4 strands. Since I wanted a embossed look on the kurtis and the background is also very subtle, I have chosen 4 strands. So this is how I have worked on the entire area there. I have filled the motif completely. So I'm using a white thread over here, removing it from the strands, and then I'll be making simple adding French knots in between. So this is how my entire motif looked after completing. To add another color combinations, I have made use of double cross stitch over here using a green colors anchor thread. So a simple embroidery can really add and make a lot of difference on your product. So this is how my final product looks. Here's my second garment, the denim with white denim that I told you had got stained. So I had done patchwork. I stitched it. If you want, you can also do a hemming by hand and then fix the patches on top. But I preferred stitching, and I'm doing a blanket stitch. So once the entire product is finished, it would appear more like it will blend in like a painting. So I have finished working on one side of the patchwork. I am filling in the other side. So here I'm just going to fill only on the sides and not in the bottom. I'm keeping it minimalistic yet elegant at the same time. Okay, so here's another very small video just to show you the working procedure of how I got the final Lazy Daisy embroideries. So that's point A. I'm going to form a loop using my thread, and I'm going to insert the needle back at the same time, bring it from below, raise it in between the loop. On top, I'm just going to make a small couching. So this is the pattern I completely filled my motif with. So here next I'm showing you the working of the double cross stitch that I did. So this is one variation. There's another variation that I adapted in the kurta that I made. So even while showing the live demonstration, that was an equidistant double cross. So one variation you can do over here is after making the plus mark or the cross mark, you can reduce the length of these opposite stitches, other diagonal stitches that you're going to make. So you can see in between those two, I'm making a small line. Okay. So I'm going to keep my reference points shorter the length and then make it. That's double cross stitch. So I think I've made my point very clear. You can also contribute. So the next time you go shopping, make sure you recycle it instead of throwing your products directly into the trash bin. Okay. So I want to make this interactive now. So audience, if you're live, uh, please share your thoughts on these questions that I've put out. The first question is on your next trip to shopping, so will you promote a brand that supports recycling or upcycling? And second is, do you consider upcycling beneficial? If yes, then please show us your creativity by developing an upcycled or a recycled garment and tag us on our Instagram handle, Siva SIFT, with hashtag recycle fashion with passion. So audience, would you like to take these questions and share your thoughts? I hope I was of some help. Do you have any questions? Do you have anything to share? Please feel free. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of the session, but please do not forget to show us your creativity. Do create some upcycling garments and put the hashtag recycle fashion with passion. Tag us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is right on the screen. Thank you very much everyone for being so patient throughout the session, being interactive, which is very important. Thank you everybody once again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, I asked you, you have a online coaching class for the embroidery.